Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Let's go!
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a Nintendo-themed romp today. We're doing a fantasy armchair booking of what we're going to do if we were somehow in control of the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we get too far into the brass tacks of that, let's go with the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
It's a pretty simple one, Rick. 6 episodes, 20 minutes an episode, has to be animated. What Nintendo IP do you use? No, you can't say Pokemon.
We're not saying Pokemon, no. I think I do Animal Crossing.
A little slice of life.
Yeah, just a cute little slice of life thing. You might have the Nooks as essentially the quote-unquote villains, but it comes to the end and they're the ones that are hosting the barbecue at the end, because really, Tom Nook has been doing you a solid all this time, and like these days, you just enter the islands and whatever as an overlord anyway.
I mean, yeah, even back in the day, Tom Nook was like the villain because, he takes loads of money and blah, 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 blah. Even disregarding all that shit, he had dialogue in game saying, I give most of my money away.
Yeah.
He's a tanuki, he doesn't need it.
Yeah, he just magic up whatever he needs.
That's the reason why furniture's little leaves in your inventory, because it's tanuki magic.
Yeah. He turns it into that so you can carry a lot of it. It doesn't matter how many things you have, they're all a leaf.
I think the big problem with having an Animal Crossing show, especially like 6 episodes, 20 minutes apiece, is you barely scratch the surface as far as cast is concerned, which means plenty of people will be unhappy. Whereas my ugly Blorbo screams fan number 5, as fan number 4 goes, no, but my ugly Blorbo means more to me. Yes,
it's Puddles and Anka. Yeah. But what I'd probably do is pair it back to like the first generation when there was like
6.
40. Yeah, like you got 6 and there was like 40 of them. And maybe pick like 20 of the 40 to just like feature. And probably just have the general storyline of the first one where you're a person moving in and like you have to deal with the housing market, as it were, instead of just being handed an Isabel.
I mean, is that how the first game worked? Like, you
didn't have an Isabel. You started on a train and you were talking to a dude. And the dude was like, "Oh, cool! So you must have a lot of money." And you just pull out your wallet, and it's like, "Ooh, 1,000 bells. Ooh,
Yeah, but but my point being is that you still get giving a house more or less as soon as you start the game. Well,
yeah.
So that's more my point. Like, Isabel is barely a factor even in the game she's in. Like, she exists, and she's one of your people that you can use to make general changes around the place. At the moment, it's the island, but the 3DS, was it 3DS? Might have just been regular DS game. She was your mayoral aide.
Yeah. And she's incredibly cute. So maybe do backport her into that just because she's cute, and she's kind of like the mouthpiece of the player when the player is mute.
Bring in the pelicans. Not the pelicans. They're not pelicans. They're like geese or swan, and the one that's there during the day is lovely, and the one who's there during the night is a fucking bitch.
Is she the one with like the half-closed eyes that's like, you can just imagine her talking like the
Valley Girl.
The fairy, yeah. Well, the Valley Girl or the fairy brothel owner who is like done with life.
Yeah, but no, she's cool though.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, like I think her name's like Filler or something, a real fucking old fuck screw you name, like Karen before Karen. Sorry to anyone who's listening who's named Filler. But yeah, she'd say stuff like, "Oh, you've got 10 million bells in your accounts. Not you have blah blah blah," and it's like, do we need to do this every time, bitch?
Yep. And your recap at the beginning of every episode is going to be Mr. Rossetti. But yes, how about you? What are you gonna pick for your Nintendo 6-episode, 30-minute episode show?
20 minutes. They're very strict on that.
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
But that being said, I do want to rewind ever so slightly in that Mr. Rossetti is nowadays an alcoholic, down on his luck because he no longer exists. Like, he wasn't in New Horizons, and then they added the update where we finally got Brewster's coffee shop back, and sometimes he's in Brewster's just going, nobody fucking needs me anymore. Fuck, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, because they just explicitly allow you to do as much time traveling as you like.
Dude, the first time I encountered Mr. Rossetti, I was really mad because it was the family DS.
Oh, yeah. So it's always someone else's fault when that happens.
Yeah, and I was like, for fuck, just save the fucking... It tells you every time to just save the game, and I have to sit here and minutes, it felt like, just being yelled at by this little fucking mole.
Yep. And when you have to write an apology letter to him.
I don't remember ever having to do that.
Yeah, on the GameCube, you had to write an apology letter to him, and it had it searched for like the actual words like "I am sorry" and "Mr. Rossetti," and it wanted a specific length.
Nintendo used to just not give a fuck about fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to my own question, I'm not a big fan of many Nintendo IPs, is what I've learned while preparing for today's episode. But what I'd want is I would make it a Metroid one where we just see Samus do various bounty hunter shit.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
That'd be cool. But without the limitations of, oh, you're in a game, so you can't be a super badass, but this is a show, so she can have all her powers and just be cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And like showcase different powers for different like loadouts for different targets.
Nah, I wouldn't go to that level because then it would just become villain of the week.
Sure.
The last episode would be her and Ripley, and there'd be no dialogue.
Yeah.
Not Ripley, fucking Ridley.
Yeah. Almost. Just one consonant. You're good to go.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I love the detail that out of all the Nintendo franchises, Samus and her villain are the only villains who are like, no, we are not friends. We can never be friends. I will kill them.
Yeah. It's like, Mario and Bowser, they go karting, they play board games, and that's why they could be in Smash together without any coming to blows. Ridley coming to Smash, no, he killed my entire family and then my adoptive family. I want him dead right now.
I was going to say, like, I don't know much about Metroid, because I don't really like Metroid games. That's why I don't play Metroidvanias, because, they took inspiration from that game genre. And fair enough, it's good mechanics. It's just mechanics I don't enjoy.
Yep.
And, but again, one of the things I learnt recently is just, Ridley killed Samus's family, and then he did it again. And I'm like, Jesus, that's fucking dark, isn't it?
It is.
But yes, what's your question today, Rick?
My one for you. You can shapeshift. You can shapeshift into one animal. You can do this at will. You can shapeshift back, no problem. It's painless. It's instant. You retain your human consciousness, intelligence, and everything while shapeshifted. But your lifespan is the same. So you can't just pick a giant tortoise and live for 200 years. You gain the necessary skills for being that creature. What creature are you picking?
See, Rick and I have this fun thing with hypotheticals where both of us have our own unique blend of... with me, it's like, this question doesn't make sense because you're not giving me enough information. With Rick, if he gets given a question that's too simple, he'll just go, I'm now going to break the question because ha he he. So we have to be very specific with when we set parameters. That being said, I'm going to pick the albatross.
Albatross, cool. It's the one that can fly. Is it because it can fly around the world without having to land?
More or less. If I only can pick one animal, I want an animal that grants me an ability that I would never be able to have as a human. So my first reaction was just, it's either got to be something that can get into small areas, no problem, or it's got to be something that can fly. And if I want the ability to fly, I want the ability to fly between continents. So fuck it, albatross it is.
Yeah, I respect that one.
Alternatively, I suppose you could go for something like the blue whale, but then that kind of limits you a bit, and also the deep sea is very scary.
Yeah, it's very scary, and it's very cold. You're protected from it, and I'm pretty sure the blue whales are not that bothered about it being cold, but it's not going to be comfortable for you.
Oh god, no. But yeah, albatross seems like a pretty decent pick, especially, again, you specified it's at will, so there's no real downside here.
Yeah. You just get somewhere and you just unshift, and there's not many things bigger than an albatross, is there? In the sky.
Yeah, that was another thing I was thinking of, because my first reaction was also, when it came to birds, it was like sparrow, and it's like, if I turn into a sparrow, I will get eaten by a hawk.
Yep.
Albatross doesn't really have that many natural predators, at least not when they're in flight. And combine that as well with the fact that humans don't tend to kill them because of that superstition.
Yeah. Well, at least humans that we know about. If you go near one of those remote...
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to, am I, Rick?
Yeah, no.
I want to fly so I can go to Japan and just chill for a day. I don't want to fly so I can go and chill with this random uncontacted civilization in the Congo that eats people.
Yep, and where being the human is probably even more dangerous.
They're like, look at this white devil. He must be destroyed. And to be fair, if you see an albatross turn into a white man, you should kill that man.
Yeah, totally.
Rick, what about you?
I thought about being a cheetah, but I ended up settling on the lyrebird because not only is it a bird, which, like you say, flight is the OP ability that you want to get from this, but they also have the best mimicking in the world.
Yeah, it's actually one of those sad state of affairs where, because humans have encroached on their territory so much, a lot of them just make, like, the sound of cars backing up. It's really depressing.
Yeah, the sounds of cars backing up and the sounds of active deforestation in their lifetimes.
Jeez.
Like chainsaws and trees falling down.
It's like an Australian bird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about picking, just a crow, but I'm like, crows are cool, but the best thing about the crow is that they're also smart.
But you get to keep your intelligence, so it's one of those.
Yeah. Because you get to keep your intelligence, I went for the lyrebird. And yeah, I think this is a good one to just abuse the ability to turn back into a human with, because if I'm being predated upon, just be a person and scare the shit out of the predator, and then turn back into the bird before I hit the ground.
That's a scene in fucking Sword in the Stone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think they also do it in the D&D movie where she can just freely switch back and forth between different wild shapes.
I mean, yeah, but it's one of the. First of all, I haven't seen a D&D movie. Second of all, they put limits on that shit so the game can work, not because there's actual limits in universe.
Yeah. They're a lot more free with it in the movie than they are in the game, and but they also make it so that that's her pretty much only ability. They don't give her druid magic or anything. That's just what druids do. They just turn into beasties.
That instantly makes druids a lot shitter.
Yeah, it does. It does. In fact, they don't even call her a druid. They just call her a wild shape.
Fucking loser.
Yeah.
What's your power? I can turn into a slug at will.
Yeah. But it's also what gave us Everybody Can Be an Owlbear, which got ported into Baldur's Gate, which, yay.
I mean, if a player came to me as a DM and said, can I do this? I'd probably be like, sure, but bear in mind, encounters will be adjusted.
Bear in mind.
Hey, Jahira, bear with me. I love that comic, it's great.
Yeah. But yes, we're talking about the Switch 2 and the things that I'm going to be speculating on that Devon's not going to be speculating on are like the actual specs. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of what processor, what GPU and all that I want, but the things I am going to say is I want it to launch with the OLED screen.
I mean, you brought this up a bit behind the scenes, literally like 2 minutes before we started recording, and my exact words were, it'd be really dumb for them to not do that, considering the amount of fuss they made about including it in the quote-unquote updated Switch.
Yeah, however, Nintendo being Nintendo, and going back to a cheaper thing is not exactly something that I wouldn't put it past them.
I mean, sure, but it's one of those where they've got the supply hooked up.
Yeah. And they'll be competing with the Steam Deck, essentially, in the handheld space, who, for the same price as the one before, did upgrade to the OLED. So, yeah, if it doesn't launch with an OLED screen, I'm going to be massively disappointed. The other thing I want is Bluetooth that just works, because they have Bluetooth on the Switch, but it's only for Joy-Cons. You can't equip your headphones to it.
I was going to say, I was unaware the Switch even had Bluetooth, because it never tells you, oh, you're emitting a Bluetooth signal. You know what I mean? Obviously, like the Joy-Cons would connect via either something along the lines of Bluetooth, but I never would have gone, oh yeah, that's clearly Bluetooth. Because again, my interaction with Bluetooth is literally my phone. If the Bluetooth is on, it gives me a special little symbol saying your Bluetooth's on. Everyone can see you.
Yeah. So I think they've got like their own kind of undiscoverable version, and like the easy way to do it is like you just connect it and they automatically connect. But then you can do it remotely as well, I believe. But it's like Bluetooth in a different language. It's not the same protocol, but it's the same technology.
It's one of those where I'm not too big of a. I don't see the need for Bluetooth. Like wired headphones, done. I'd rather they keep the aux port than trade it for a Bluetooth, because that's
which they've shown they are doing.
What, they're trading the aux for Bluetooth?
No, they've shown they are keeping the aux port.
Okay, that's good, because far too much tech has gone, yeah, we don't need aux ports anymore, people just use Bluetooth, and it's like, I don't, and I'm not buying your thing if you don't include it.
Yeah. But yes, that's it for my wish list of things. So The price.
Yeah, so I've obviously split this into two different categories, because there's the price I want that's somewhat realistic, but we probably won't get, and there's the price I'm suspecting we're going to get.
Yeah.
So the price I want, which seems realistic, realistic but optimistic, is £300, because the Switches are still $199.
Exactly. Yeah, so the basic Switch, it launched at what, 270, was it?
I couldn't tell you the base price. I didn't buy it when it first came out.
Yeah, and I think it's £200 for the mini one.
The mini one?
Yeah, you know, the one that's only handheld.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, the one that if they launched at launch with that, then I would have just picked it. Yeah, the like £300. I agree with you on that one. I think it's not much more than the one before it, and it becomes very much a whim purchase for a lot more people than if it's a lot more money.
Yeah. Price I expect, though, everything's been going up in money, Rick. That's just the state of things. You look at other console prices, and yes, while the Switch isn't competing with other consoles really, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes out £400+ with that sort of price tag.
Yeah, I'm expecting minimum 350, probably 400, maybe 450.
I'll be honest with you, I've got a very hard limit of 350 in my head, where if it's over 350 on launch, I'm not getting it on launch.
Yeah, and that said, it's going to take a long time for it to come down, so you might be relying on bundles.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like console plus bundle for like, well, plus game for like less than £10 extra over the console price kind of thing. Yeah,
it's one of those where, especially seeing as Nintendo has this fun thing where they're slower on the uptick on their on the base price of their brand new titles. However, once they reach it, it never goes lower than that. I think we're at 60 for new titles on Nintendo games nowadays.
Yeah. They've tried to be 60 for a long time. In America, they went up to 70 for $70 for certain things. Like Tears of the Kingdom went up to $70 because the rest of them were $60.
Fun.
They do come down for some of them, so they're trying to make most of them still 60, but the big budget ones, the ones that they're calling Nintendo AAA, are 70.
I mean, that's what I think of them as.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, despite the fact that they're lower graphical fidelity than something that you can put out on the PC or the major consoles, I say major consoles, you know what I mean? The power consoles. You're still putting the same, and obviously by our experience, more work into every other aspect.
Yeah, and I mean, they've had the Switch has been long overdue an upgrade, so like the last year, maybe even 2 years worth of games, they shouldn't have been on that level of console.
Yeah. Like, I even said, like, multiple times, so apologies for you having to hear it again. Pretty sure that the latest Pokemon games were developed for the Switch 2 and then had to get crammed down onto the original.
I mean, like, I don't use a Switch emulator because I have a Switch. I don't need the emulator. But from reports on people who did use the Switch emulator before they shut that shit down, games that ran like jank on the Switch ran incredibly well when played on a PC.
Yeah, like even a Steam Deck, which is not the most powerful PC in the world, could run Switch games better than a Switch could.
But the Switch is like 10-year-old hardware, it feels. It's not 10 years old, but it feels it.
Yeah, I think it was like 2017, but yeah.
That's still 8 years.
Yeah, it is. And it's like March as well, so it's like actually nearly 8 years. But yes, games that you want and expect it to launch with, other than Mario Kart that we already know.
I've only picked one for these because it's like a game that will come out with it. A game I want it to launch with, and I'm kind of cheating with this, I want it to launch with a 3DS emulator.
Yeah, I like that. Because like they could really just like turn the whole thing on its head and say, okay, now you've got no reason to emulate stuff because now we let you play the thing that you very definitely are saying that you want to steal.
But specifically, I want it to act like their NES and Game Boy emulators, where it's like, okay, you bought your Switch Online Pass thing, so we can't just give you a free game every month like PlayStation and Xbox try to do. So what we'll do is we'll give you our old shit. Yeah. Just every month they update it to just add one thing from the catalog to it. I mean, realistically, like 4 or 5, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, as long as you start with a decent amount, it doesn't matter if you slow down after that.
That's true.
I think the caveat is going to be for big games like Pokemon, because even on the 3DS, you could buy Gen 1 and Gen 2 for like £8 each, and the benefit of that was, even though it played through as if it was similar to the originals, or like basically just emulating the originals, you could send those Pokemon through to like Pokemon Bank and now to Pokemon Home.
Right.
So you could get like your an actual Bulbasaur from Professor Oak and just send it up through the generations, which is something you never could do on the original hardware.
Okay, but on the flip side, I don't care about that.
Okay. And also, that's only possible for people that already have Pokemon Bank. If you don't have it, you can't do it.
Oh, right, because they scrapped that service, didn't they?
Yeah, so if you already have it, you can transfer to home, no problem. If you don't already have it, eat shit.
Yeah, Nintendo are really weird about this, and it's why I don't like any of whenever they release a new thing to go with Pokemon, because it's always a new thing to go with the new thing to do the transfers. But history has shown that they will just replace it with another new thing, so be careful, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think the next one is when they add an NFT to every Pokemon to stop you from being able to generate them easily.
Who cares? Nintendo, for some bizarre reason. They did this shit with Animal Crossing as well, by the way. They didn't let you have a cloud save for Animal Crossing because they didn't want people to easily duplicate shit and get shit they might not be able to get shit too easily. And it's like, yeah, a small percentage of the player base would use it for that, but most people want a cloud save just so if something catastrophic happens to their DS save, they can fucking reboot their island back up.
Yeah, or they get pickpocketed or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, as in the actual fucking console.
Yeah, like, it's not the largest thing in the world. You could just realistically be carrying it around with you. And when you're carrying anything around with you, fingers can alleviate you of the thing.
At the same time, I probably wouldn't have that in an easily pickpocketable location. I get your point, but like a Nintendo Switch, you probably got that in a bag.
Yeah.
Which, okay, granted, if your bag is a handbag and not a backpack, yeah, okay.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, what game do you want it to launch with? If you had to pick one.
I think the one that I would go with alongside Mario Kart, I'd go with Mario Party because we've been a reasonable amount of time without one of those.
Oh, that's not going to happen. We literally just got a new one.
Was the new one actually more recent than I thought?
Yeah, it was like within a year.
Okay, ignore me. Okay, so I would actually want an updated re-release of something like an old Zelda, like Twilight Princess. We got one on the Wii U, which nobody played. So just update it to the Switch 2 after skipping the Switch 1.
Yeah, I don't think that's a realistic one. This isn't for realistic ones. This is just for what we want. Just because I'm 95% sure that game's going to launch with a new Zelda title, full stop.
Yeah. That said, the most recent Zelda was the one where you play as Zelda, and by all accounts, that was like really well received by people that played it.
Yeah, I think the only complaints people had were it wasn't Tears of the Kingdom, that sort of graphic style. It went into a more classic Zelda type style, like chibi.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest complaint, and it's like such a non-complaint.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure Tears/Breath of the Wild style is in the pipeline, but I don't think it's going to be the first year.
I think it's going to because, okay, just for context, guys, we're recording this in February, just in case you're listening to this way in the future. The next update we're going to get on the Switch 2 is scheduled for January, February, March, April.
Yeah.
That's when they've said we're going to release actual information. And so far, all we've got is the minute clip of them doing a rotation of the console, and we saw on the screen there's going to be a new Mario Kart. Yeah,
and even then, you only know it's a new one because you can count for 24 players.
To be fair...
Because it looks the same.
I was going to say, to be fair, the map didn't look like a recognisable map, so...
Okay, I don't know all of the Mario Kart tracks, but like it looks like the style, so it looks like it fits, you know?
Sure. But yeah, Rick, let's get to the more realistic expectations. What game do you expect it to launch with, aside from Mario Kart?
I definitely expect it to launch with an updated re-release rather than a new thing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with... I think they're gonna delay the console long enough for it to launch with Pokemon Legends Arceus. Not Arceus. Pokemon Legends Z Alpha.
Yeah, so I've also got that written down as I 100% expect it to launch with that.
Yeah, because that's going to be a real pull factor for players to buy the new thing. Because they did the same thing with Breath of the Wild. Like, they launched it on the Wii U and the new console at the same time.
I mean, I don't care for Zelda, so I didn't know that, or didn't remember that, I should say.
But yeah, Pokemon Legends ZA from both of us.
Yeah. I mean, I've got that. I've also got the fact that I generally think there'll be a new Zelda game launched with it.
Sure, fair enough.
It just seems to be the thing. New console, new Zelda.
Yeah. But yes, things that you would put on the system within the first year.
Yeah, so we specified 3 games each, so we should go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first things first is I want a new Animal Crossing. New Horizons is a great fucking game. It came out in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. So 5 years is very reasonable to have developed the same game again.
That's all Animal Crossing is, man. Do you know what they added to New Horizon over like the DS one?
It's an island.
Yeah.
It is now, isn't it?
It's an island. You can terraform your island. That's the big change, really, if we're being honest. Because otherwise, it's like, you had more or less control over your little village anyway. Just now you can actually mould the landscape. They might have added some new villagers, but fuck if I know. I don't know every single villager that exists in Animal Crossing ever.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, the black market trade for villagers is fucking wild online.
Yeah, it's like, do you have an anchor? I want an anchor.
But they don't just want an anchor, Rick. They want an unspoiled, unsullied anchor, so they haven't had any of their dialogue fucked with.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're willing to trade millions of bells. It's literally so fucked up. There's a story on Tumblr of someone being like, oh, this character's moving, and whatever. I don't really care for them. But I know loads of people in the community like this character, and they went onto a message board saying, hey, this character's moving. I'm not too bothered. Does anyone want them? And they got bombarded with fucking messages offering, like, the world in riches for this one guy. Again, it's literally just like, my Blawbow's better than your Blawbow. I will die for my Blawbow.
Yeah. I know when a friend of ours first started New Horizons and got Puddles, which is just a frog that looks very cute, and was like, oh man, I now have to make sure that my island has a little island within the island so Puddles can live on it.
That's cute. That's very cute. Yeah, you've got a certain thing as well where people will theme their villagers, and some people really want just a certain type of animal on their island, which is fine if you want dogs or cats or even sheep. But then you got like the frogs and the octopus. There's only 3 octopuses in the game, which makes them weirdly more desirable, and I don't know why, because 2 of them are ugly as fuck. Like, I don't care if octopuses are on my island. That's cool, but the teriyaki-looking one looks fucking disgusting. Anyway, I digress. It's one of those where people are weird with this game, and they're allowed to be weird with this game. That's kind of half the point.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much for you to actually do in Animal Crossing. Like, you make your island look pretty, you get villagers that you want. It's just such a sandbox. Like, when you first begin, things are a bit more limited because you're limited to a very small part of the island. Everyone's living in tents, but it very quickly snowballs into I am a god king.
Yeah.
And when you start using other people's like custom designs for things, it just makes the possibilities are limitless. It's very fun. One of the big problems with Animal Crossing is there isn't really a story.
Yeah, I suppose.
So a lot of people, it's one of those. It's so weird that I like Animal Crossing because you know what I'm like with sandbox games. Yeah.
But
I fucking love Animal Crossing. I love making my island look pretty. But anyway, we're long overdue a new one. What about you, Rick? What would you first put on your list?
Does Metroid Prime 4 count?
I don't know, because didn't that game come out?
We've got trailers of it, and okay, I've just looked it up on the Google. Apparently, it's scheduled for release in 2025, so that's technically something that we do know about. So we were trying to pick things that we don't know about. So yeah, it's apparently coming in 2025, which means if it doesn't come out on the Switch 2, then they're huffing fumes.
Yeah, that would be fucking bizarre. Like, we've released this brand new game. Is it on the Switch 2? No, it's on the old one.
That said, it's going to be backwards compatible. So,
dude, I fucking remember. People have been throwing a hissy fit. By the way, we're talking about the Switch 2, so I'm going to put on it. And they said, wouldn't it be wild if they brought out the Switch 2 cartridges and all they've got is a little lip on them to stop them from going into Switch 1 consoles, and you got a bunch of people flipping their shit, and you got us millennials just going, yeah, that's what Nintendo's always done.
Yeah,
like that was how it worked with the 3DS, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, so you got like a wider cartridge slot that can take both, but only the Switch 2 ones will fit into the Switch 2.
Yeah, it's like, fuck it, this isn't new, and it's honestly, it's not as nefarious as you think it is.
Yeah, it stops you from putting a new thing into the old console because the general form of the cartridge was good. I mean, the old console can't play it.
Shit, they even did it with the Game Boy Color ones, except it was way more subtle with the Game Boy Color ones.
Yeah. Like, wasn't it a little notch that the original Game Boy like put a little plastic thing over to like keep the cartridge in?
It was something like that, yeah.
And the Game Boy Color was solid, so the original Game Boy, like, you couldn't slide it over because it would like go, oh, this is solid, I can't turn on. Unless you took an X-Acto knife to it.
Do not do this.
No, do not do that. No, do not do that. So, also, because backwards compatibility is a thing, I don't expect there to be a new Smash Brothers for this generation, because Ultimate pretty much is everything they want. So I'm going to go with an off-the-wall one. I'm going to go with F-Zero.
We're never getting a fucking new F-Zero. You're crazy.
I know I'm crazy. It's something that I want.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I was going to put F-Zero on my list because I've played the old school F-Zero because of the fucking NES emulator I was talking about on the Switch, and I was like, this is a good game. It looks like shit because it's from 1992, but like update the graphics and this would be really fun. Why are Nintendo just not making this?
Yeah. So it's one of those. Like I really like the old F-Zero, and it was a lot more of a. It felt more serious than Mario Kart,
because it is,
even though you've got space things.
Yeah, but Mario Kart's a party racer.
Yeah. It's more of a serious racer that you also do with just friends, but it's less about blue shells and stuff like that. But yeah, do you have another one?
Oh, sure. We'll move on then. We kind of know this is coming, but we don't know if it'll be in the first year. It'll be criminal if it's not in the first year, and that is Pokemon Gen 10.
Maybe.
Rick, Scarvio came out in 2022.
It did.
Like, I don't think this game will come out as soon as the Switch 2 is launched. It should be out around Christmas time, in my opinion.
The only time they put out two Pokemon games in the same year was when they did Legends and Gen 9.
Okay, so it definitely worked then.
And I feel like they don't want to do that again, because like the amount that they've delayed Legends this time, it makes me think that they're going to be trying to delay Gen 10 until there's a lull, you know?
It's been 3 years. It's overdue.
Sure. Like, I'd be happy.
I'm just saying it's what I'd want. It's one of those where Pokemon is one of the few reasons I bothered with the Switch.
Yeah, totally.
So, you know, I also wouldn't mind a new Splatoon game, but those games the kids are far too good at those games.
Yeah.
It's really demoralising. You play 6 matches and you win 1.
Yeah. And even then, it's a team one. Like, you're not getting Splatoon death matches. It's all team games.
Yeah, I'm not very good at Splatoon at all. I love that game, but I'm awful at it. So it means, hey, guess what? I don't play for very much. It's like, you won't get better if you don't play more. Yeah, sure, but my time is limited on this earth, and I don't want to use it getting beaten at a kid's game by said kids. Like, good for them, not for me. Yeah. What about you, Rick? What would be your next suggestion or want for some games you personally would put out in the first year?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm saying Mario Sports, but this means like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, things that are not Mario Kart, but like they all kind of blend together in my mind as like fun versions of the same thing. Mario Soccer, the Strikers one.
That literally just got a new game, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah, on the Switch. It was like a year ago now, but it definitely got a sequel, because I remember going, why the fuck is this a thing? I mean, I'm not against it, but shit.
Yeah, because FIFA, EA lost the FIFA license, so
Nintendo aren't going to pay for that.
No, they're not going to pay for it, but football games are going to be shit now because FIFA license is gone, so you might as well have a fun one where you can play as Mario Donna.
Well, I've got some bad news for you, Rick. FIFA games have been shit for about 15 years.
Oh, yeah, FIFA games have been shit since, I have played FIFA 95, and I have played no FIFA since then.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put out a number. I'm going to say 08 is probably the last time they added something interesting.
Yeah.
Since
then, yeah.
It's literally
they added RNG, microtransactions.
Yeah. Like, it's baffling to me that EA was bitching, saying, if we don't have these microtransactions and these loot box mechanics, we will not make money. And it's like, you can't make money off of FIFA with an exclusive deal with FIFA to the rights for FIFA, and you can't make money off that. You're shit.
Yep. Because the other thing about the FIFA license was that they had the real kits, whereas like Pro Evo didn't.
Yeah, Pro Evo was great, because back when I played Pro Evo, it was like 2005, and the teams would be like, it's West London Blues, and it meant Chelsea FC.
Yeah.
It's like Manchester Reds, and it's Manchester United. It's fucking so silly. It was great. Mario Strikers was a fun game. I totally get it. You're saying Mario Sports, does that mean we're going to see a return of Mario Lacrosse?
I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm assuming you're making it up.
It was a really, 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 really bad Game Boy game.
Okay.
I never played it. I just know it exists because I love saying it and people going, you made that up. And I went, I really didn't.
Yeah. I could see this being a compilation that's essentially the replacement for Wii Sports, but you pay for it.
I guess. I don't like that idea quite so much.
Yeah, but it's probably better than Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, because that's always kind of shit.
I really like those games, though.
Yeah, fair enough. Which, again, it's kind of like a replacement for a Wii Sports, really, isn't it? And what have we got? Winter Olympics is probably the next one.
Maybe. I never played the Winter Olympics ones. I can't imagine they're as good.
But yeah, do you have a next one?
Yeah, so my final one is, this might be too early to want this, but I do want it, and that's a new Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I get you, because Engage...
It's 2 years old.
Yeah, not only is it 2 years old, it was nowhere near as impactful as Three Houses.
Well, there's that, but it also wasn't really meant to be. Like, Engage was meant to... Engage came out on an anniversary year, and it was very much meant to be an anniversary game, and you can feel that when you play it.
Yeah, anniversary game, anniversary celebrations. Yeah, I get you.
I think the biggest problem with Engage is literally it just felt like the fucking mobile game, but done to, like, console quality, which is fine, but it's not what I would have wanted.
Yeah, I get you. Like, you even got the daily stuff with, like, Somi and all that.
You got that. You had the fucking the multiplayer arena thing, which was set up your dudes, and it's just the fucking Colosseum battles from the mobile game.
Yeah, and you even got literal Tempest Trials that are literally called Tempest Trials.
Yeah. The only difference being that, you could just grind out your characters on infinite maps instead of, having to rely on RNG and pump coins into the game.
Yeah. I'm all for another Fire Emblem game.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, isn't it, Rick? Is Fire Emblem Three Houses story, but Fire Emblem Engage for maps.
Yeah, like the gimmicks that they had on the maps. Some of them were a pain in the arse, but the fact that they were a pain in the arse means they were memorable.
The DLC ones were the worst offender for that.
Oh yeah. Like they were a pain in the dick. Okay, we got this new status effect where if you get hit by it, you're shit for the rest of the map.
But there's also the fact that for the DLC story, your units were locked to certain levels and certain characters, so it was like,
yeah, it became a bit of a puzzle.
Yeah, because you couldn't just do what you wanted.
Yeah, but by the same token, it was a curated, solvable puzzle.
Yeah, but it sucked.
Yeah, fair enough.
That final map was a cunt.
It was, yeah.
Like, because I didn't know the gimmick the first time, so I had to reset because my commander got killed because the land just fell underneath him because he was too far into the thing to retreat after the marker came up saying this island's going to get destroyed, and I'm like, well, I'm fucked then, ain't I?
Yeah. The one before that was the one that pissed me off the most.
Oh, yeah?
Where your commander is, like, abducted and 1v1ing the other person while you have to just, like, go round the houses to get everyone else there.
Yeah, and you can't use your teleport staff, otherwise the guy goes, that's cheating, and then the map gets really fucking hard.
Yep.
But what I did, Rick, is I put a guy... There's an area where you can just get a physic in range.
Sure.
So I had to put one of my units was just sacrificed as, you're here, you heal main character, please.
Yeah. Yeah, that and did they have the long range bombardier in those maps, or was it just something you got after the game?
I can't remember. It's been a minute since I played that game.
Yeah, I remember Rosado into my one because there was a chance that he was going to fire against someone who was male and therefore would actually get more accuracy.
But again, you had fixed unit types then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, what's the last game that you would really want to see released on the first year?
Star Fox!
Oh, yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Absolutely zero chance, but I want to see it. Like, we've not had one since, like, the Wii U, and that one was shit. So...
Rick, it feels like more Star Foxes have been shit than not at this point.
Oh, yeah. Like, I really like Star Fox Adventures.
Most people didn't.
A lot of people just think it's shit. It came out at a time when there wasn't a Zelda on the GameCube. So that was basically, oh, you want the Zelda feel? We'll have that. Oh, God, yeah. I loved that game. I appreciate it.
It was like a brother to me.
Yeah, we want to see crystal boobies in HD.
Rick's a furry, guys.
Yeah. And games that you would immediately port.
Okay. Rick likes to not use the titles I use for the questions.
Yeah, assuming it has the capability. Game that you would immediately port.
We have to put that on there, Rick, because I am a firm believer that this game will not be as powerful as the Steam Deck. And by game, I mean console.
Sure.
Like, it really should be, but I don't think it will be. It needs to be, one, more powerful, and two, not sound like a fucking train when it turns on.
Oh, it'll sound like a train.
Yeah.
It will sound like a train.
What, the Switch?
Yeah, the Switch will sound like a train.
Nah, I can't.
Okay.
I'm No, you're right, it will. I'm just saying, for it to be a success, it needs to not.
Fair enough. So what are you picking for your instant port?
I mean, I think it would do well on the... it's one of those really annoying things, because the Steam Deck exists now, so
yeah,
a lot of things you can put here is just like, we'll just buy a Steam Deck then.
Yeah.
But the Steam Deck can't play Switch games. Or, not easily, shall we say.
Yeah.
Big old asterisk.
Yeah.
We'll say legally it can't, even though even that's not even technically correct, but whatever. What I've put down is just straight up Middle-earth Shadow of War.
Yeah, alright.
That was the sequel to Shadow of Mordor. I like the game, but boy, was it fucking annoying.
Yeah, fair enough. And, that's knocking on a bit now, isn't it?
It's got to be like 10 years old now. No, that's...
Yeah.
My default is just 10 years... It must be 10 years old. It fucking never is.
Well, things can be older than 5 years old and not feel that old because the last 5 years have been blur.
Yeah, to a degree. Apparently, Rick, though, we can't trust that because when you hit 29, time just kind of starts working weird for people.
Yeah, time accelerates after you're, after you're like 24, time accelerates, and then...
I can actually tell you the peak age, because the peak age is actually 27. That's when time will move as fast as it will move.
Sure.
Apparently.
And then after that, you age faster, time goes faster, and that's when you start to become a lawn defender.
Well, it's literally like everything's relative, Like once you've reached 27, that's it. Everything is now relatively fast.
Yeah, it's like 24 minus the 3 years where you're learning how to learn.
Sure, it's one of those. But anyway, I think Shadow of War is a good... It would be good on a handheld. That game's infuriating because I don't know if you've ever played it, Rick, but...
I've not, no.
When you invade the towers, if you take too long beating the boss of the tower, it gains more and more immunities. And I remember I put the game down because I got to a point where I couldn't damage the boss anymore because it just gained all the immunities. And I'm like, how do I do damage? And you can't. And none of my orcs could do damage. And what happened is it got enraged at one point. It gained an enraged for seeing, I can't remember the name of the creature, but they're like tiger things. And one of my orcs is riding one. So now it's invulnerable and it's pissed off.
Yep, Jesus. Yep, you're fucked.
It wasn't fun and it wasn't fair and it made no sense because I remember as well it was one of the shield bearer orc captains, so the easiest way to deal with those is to just vault over it and then stab it in the back a bunch of times. The very first immunity it gets is, okay, you can't vault over this anymore. I went, okay, I guess I'll have to use arrows, and guess what, it's now immune to arrows. I'm like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yep. Oh, Jesus.
Rick, what game would you immediately port, assuming it has the capability?
I think putting Elden Ring on it would be a great feat. Especially since the Night Rain is coming out sometime this year as well. So having the original Elden Ring as a teaser for Night Rain, which is more of a multiplayer / party thing that's coming out, I think is going to be a good way to test and showcase the power of the console.
Okay, first and foremost, nah, I don't want Elden Ring on Switch. I know a lot of people probably would, but buy a Steam Deck, fuck you. On the other hand, you bringing up it being like a party-based, more multiplayer type game, that's a thing the Switch needs to add. It needs to stop having the fucking app. It's like, you want to talk to your friends while playing a game? Log into the app and connect your microphone to your phone. No! Have the console be able to do that.
Yeah. Like, this time they don't even have the excuse that the console isn't strong enough because they're in control of this. So just like have, like, even running Discord.
Yeah, just Nintendo knockoff Discord.
Or just Discord.
That requires Nintendo to agree to let Discord be a thing that goes on its console, which no, they won't do because they don't own it.
Yeah. Plus, it would make it easy to send links and be able to click on something on the internet.
I mean, yeah.
But I guess they could just lock down an internet browser or whatever.
Discord is never going to be on Nintendo, but Nintendo's version of Discord might.
Yeah, maybe Mario scored. Pipelines. Let's call it pipelines or something, and it's just like Mario pipes.
Yeah, I guess that would work, but again, you don't even need that. It just, like PlayStation and Xbox both have these as standard. And yes, I know they're proper console. That feels bad saying proper console, but everyone knows what I mean when I say it.
Yeah. Like power platforms, not handhelders.
Well, that's just it, because the big deal with the Switch is that, it's effectively a handheld that you can also plug into your TV to make into a regular console. They combine their handhelds into regular consoles, and I think they had to do that because otherwise they were going to die.
Yeah. And I'm all about handhelds because I can play them in bed.
Well, I like handhelds, but I don't like handhelds handhelds that are too big, and the Switch is too big for a handheld.
Sure. I've got strong hands, so I'm fine with it.
That's, I mean, the screen is too big.
Okay.
But anyway, doesn't matter. You want to be a petty little bitch about it, so...
Oh, yes. Turbo pettiness. But yeah, Elden Ring from me. But with that, do you have...
We can't do this.
Well, yeah, we can't really do a favourite of favourites. So, I guess that's it for today. If you like the video, there's a comment section down below on YouTube and Spotify. Tell us what you would bring to the Switch 2, what you really do not want to bring to the Switch 2, things you think are going to come out in the first year or whatever. And if you're not on one of the text platforms, you can instead send us an email to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. And bit of good news behind the scenes. We have abandoned / migrated from Twitter, and we're now using Blue Sky instead because of reasons.
Yes. Some Roman adjacent reasons.
You guys, you don't understand. He's autistic.
Oh, yes. But yeah, bye everybody.
See you next week, guys.